All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Sunil Verma and with me is Sarabjit Kaur. The headlines. India gets its first COVID vaccine for children aged 12 and above. Government approves Zydus Cadilla's 3-dose vaccine for emergency use. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says approval for world's first DNA-based ZyCoV-D vaccine is a testimony to innovative zeal of India's scientists. More than 57 crore 22 lakh doses of corona vaccine administered in the country so far. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh approves proposal to publish details of government's planned procurement on official websites. EPFO adds 12.83 lakh new subscribers in June this year. Centre constitutes a committee for doubling production and quadrupling exports of handlooms in 3 years. NATO suspends all support to Afghanistan following Taliban's siege of Kabul. Keralites celebrate their biggest festival, Thiruvonam, across the globe today. And Rafael Nadal is out for rest of 2021 tennis season due to foot injury. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is going on, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and also help others get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011 2397 8046 and 1075. And now the news. The Central Drugs Standard Control Organization, CDSCO, has approved DNA COVID-19 vaccine ZyCoV-D of Cadila Healthcare for restricted use in emergency situation in India for 12 years and above. It was approved after evaluation of interim phase 3 clinical trial results in consultation with Subject Expert Committee of CDSCO. The vaccine has efficacy of 66.6% and it is to be stored at 2 degrees Celsius to 8 degrees Celsius. The vaccine is needle-free to be administered intradermally in 3 doses at day 0, 28 and 56. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said India is fighting COVID-19 with full vigor and the approval for world's first DNA-based ZyCoV-D vaccine of Zydus Cadila is a testimony to the innovative zeal of India's scientists. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, "It is a momentous feat indeed." Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia said, "Double good news for the nation as CDSCO approves the first DNA-based, needle-free COVID-19 vaccine in the world, ZyCoV-D of Zydus Cadila." He said, "In making children of India COVID-free safe, this vaccine can be used for individuals aged 12 and above." Mr. Mandavia said, ZyCoV-D is the 6th approved COVID-19 vaccine in India and the 2nd indigenously developed one. He said, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India delivers another significant accomplishment. More than 57 crore 22 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine have been administered in the country under the nationwide vaccination drive so far. The Union Health and Family Welfare Ministry has said over 54 lakh 71,000 vaccine doses were administered to the beneficiaries in the last 24 hours. In a statement, the Health Ministry said the country has reported 36,571 new cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. The recovery rate currently stands at 97.54%, which is highest since March 2020.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi yesterday inaugurated and laid the foundation stone of various projects in Somnath, Gujarat through video conferencing. The projects inaugurated include the Somnath Promenade, the Somnath Exhibition Centre and the reconstructed temple precinct of Old Somnath. The Prime Minister also laid the foundation stone of Sri Parvati Temple during the event.
मेरा सौभाग्य है कि सोमनाथ मंदिर ट्रस्ट के अध्यक्ष के रूप में मुझे इस पुण्य स्थान की सेवा का अवसर मिलता रहा है। आज मुझे समुद्र दर्शन पथ, सोमनाथ प्रदर्शन गैलरी और जीर्णोद्धार के बाद नए स्वरूप में जूना सोमनाथ मंदिर के लोकार्पण का सौभाग्य मिला है। साथ ही आज पार्वती माता मंदिर का शिलान्यास भी हुआ है। इतना पुनीत संयोग और साथ में सावन का पवित्र महीना, मैं मानता हूं ये हम सबके लिए भगवान सोमनाथ जी के आशीर्वाद की ही सिद्धि है।
The Prime Minister said inauguration will strengthen the link between religious endeavors and tourism. Mr. Modi said it is not only a temple but a place that stands for the strength of the Indian culture and humanitarian ideology. The Prime Minister dwelled upon the national and international potential of tourism and spiritual tourism. He said that the country is reviving the ancient glory by building modern infrastructure which provides employment to the youth. He said India climbed to the 34th place in 2019 from 65th in 2013 in the Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Index. Mr. Modi said our thinking should be to improve the present by learning from history and create a new future. He said that Bharat Jodo Andolan is not limited to geographical or ideological affiliations but also a resolve to connect us with our past to build the future India. Mr. Modi said the arrangement of 4 dhams, the concept of our Shakti Peeths and the establishment of different pilgrimages in different corners of the country is the outline of our faith and an expression of the spirit of Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat. He said that from Somnath and Nageshwar in the west to Baidyanath in the east and from Baba Kedarnath in the north to Sri Rameshwar in the south, these 12 Jyotirling are connecting the whole world. I beg your pardon, whole India. Speaking on the occasion, Union Home Minister Amit Shah said the government is providing modern facilities to all religious places under the Prasad scheme of the centre.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has approved a proposal mandating the service headquarters to publish the relevant details of planned procurement on official websites of the Defence Ministry and Defence Services within 1 week of receipt of approvals. The decision will help promote ease of doing business and increase transparency in capital acquisition process. The Defence Ministry in a statement said the details shared will be subject to sensitivities, keeping the security aspect in mind.
Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will be on a day-long visit to Lucknow today to participate in various programs of Uttar Pradesh and central government. These include the launch of third phase of state government's flagship program, Mission Shakti Abhiyan. More details from our Lucknow correspondent.
In the forenoon, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will witness the launching of Mission Shakti Phase 3 with the aim promoting women's safety, respect and self-reliance. More than 1.5 lakh girls will be benefited under Kanya Sumangala Yojana. The foundation stone of the courtyard of Birangana Avanti Bai Battalion will also be laid on this occasion. In another program, rupees 5,100 crore as loan sanctioned by Punjab National Bank will be transferred for Ganga Expressway construction. In the afternoon, the Finance Minister will launch Ubharte Sitare Fund, which aims at arranging funds for promotion of small and medium companies. MS Yadav, Yaya News, Lucknow.
Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan has said that the National Education Policy 2020 is not merely a policy but a vision document. He said it aims to establish a student-centric education system by empowering them with the power of choice. Our Bhubaneswar correspondent has filed this report.
Inaugurating a lecture hall complex and hostel at IIT Bhubaneswar yesterday, the Union Education Minister briefed the IITs to take the lead in the effective implementation of the National Education Policy and pave the path for holistic and multidisciplinary education in accordance with the local aspirations. Later, speaking at the dedication of the permanent campus of the Skill Development Institute and the foundation laying function of the Institute of Chemical Technology, ICT-IOC, the minister said that students could be self-reliant by healing themselves and contribute to the creation of an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Mr. Pradhan, who is on a 4-day visit to Odisha, attended a number of other programs yesterday that include inauguration of modern medical facilities at the Gopabanthu Institute of Medical Science and Research at Artgarh in Cuttack district, besides beating the hockey Olympians from the stage. It is Chandradas, EIR News, Bhubaneswar.
Jan Ashirvad Yatras of the 4 newly appointed union ministers from Maharashtra are in the final stages. The 4 ministers, Narayan Rane, Bhagwat Karad, Kapil Patil and Bharti Pawar, have been visiting various parts of the state to create awareness among people about various government schemes at the grassroots level and also ascertain whether the public welfare schemes have reached the rural areas in the true sense.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. India gets its first COVID vaccine for children aged 12 and above. Government approves Zydus Cadilla's 3-dose vaccine for emergency use. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says approval for world's first DNA-based ZyCoV-D vaccine is a testimony to innovative zeal of India's scientists. More than 57 crore 22 lakh doses of corona vaccine administered in the country so far. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh approves proposal to publish details of government's planned procurement on official websites. EPFO adds 12.83 lakh new subscribers in June this year. Centre constitutes a committee for doubling production and quadrupling exports of handlooms in 3 years. NATO suspends all support to Afghanistan following Taliban's siege of Kabul. Keralites celebrate their biggest festival, Tiruvonam, across the globe today. And Rafael Nadal is out for rest of 2021 tennis season due to foot injury. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
The Employees Provident Fund Organization, EPFO, has added 12.83 lakh net subscribers in the month of June this year. The Labour and Employment Ministry said the impact of second wave of COVID-19 pandemic waned during June, leading to tremendous growth in net payroll additions as compared to April and May. Of the total net subscribers added during the month, around 8.11 lakh new subscribers have come under the Social Security coverage of Employees Provident Fund scheme for the first time. During the month, around 4.73 lakh net subscribers exited but rejoined EPFO by changing jobs within the establishments covered by EPFO. The Union Government has constituted a committee for doubling the production and quadrupling the exports of handlooms in a span of 3 years. It will be headed by Chairman of Fashion Design Council of India, Sunil Sethi. The committee will submit the final report within 45 days from the day of its constitution. It will suggest the strategy and policy framework for doubling the production and for improving the quality of handloom products with the aim of enhancing income of the weavers. It will also suggest ways for partnering and collaboration of handloom weavers' agencies with the designers, buying houses and institutions, organizations and exporters.
The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, has announced that it has suspended all support to war-torn Afghanistan and called for an end to the violence in the nation following the Taliban's siege of Kabul. Yesterday, the foreign ministers of NATO met virtually to discuss Afghanistan's situation. The ministers expressed their deep concerns over the serious human rights violations and abuses across Afghanistan and called for an immediate end to the violence. The alliance stressed that its immediate task now is to meet its commitments to continue the safe evacuation of their citizens, partner countries' nationals, and at-risk Afghans. Afghanistan is witnessing its worst ever crisis in decades as the Taliban's control has forced people to flee the nation in fear of their atrocities.
Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia has said that India is committed to bring back its citizens from Afghanistan after the Taliban took over. He said the Civil Aviation Ministry had operated its flights to Kabul every day, but after the closure of the Kabul airspace, the Indian Air Force's C-130 Hercules Globemaster aircraft flew to Kabul to bring back the Indian citizens safely. Mr. Scindia said this during the inauguration of Indigo flight from Jabalpur to New Delhi. Mr. Scindia also informed that as many as 71 lakh Indians have been brought back to the country under the Vande Bharat mission and 55 lakh people have been sent back to their respective countries who were stuck in India owing to COVID-19. Mr. Scindia, along with Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Shivraj Singh Chauhan, also virtually flagged off the Indigo flight from Jabalpur to Mumbai and Indore yesterday. The United Kingdom will provide vaccines against COVID-19 to Afghans coming to the country. In a statement, the UK government has said that additional healthcare provision, access to COVID-19 vaccinations and funding for housing will be provided to support Afghans coming to the UK via the Afghanistan Relocations and Assistance Policy ARAP scheme. In Jammu and Kashmir, 3 terrorists belonging to Jaish-e-Mohammed JEM are killed in an encounter with security forces in upper reaches of Nagbaran forest in Awantipora area of Pulwama district this morning. Search operation by security forces in the area continued when reports last came in.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed anguish on the loss of lives due to an accident in Buldana district of Maharashtra. Mr. Modi has expressed condolences to the bereaved families. He hoped that the injured will recover soon. Mr. Modi also announced that an ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees each from Prime Minister's National Relief Fund will be given to the next of kin of the deceased. 50,000 rupees will be given to the injured. At least 13 labourers were killed after a vehicle ferrying them overturned in Maharashtra's Buldana district yesterday.
Azadi Ka Safar every day with All India Radio from Monday the 16th of August as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav News Services Division of All India Radio brings to you the story of glorious struggle and sacrifices of freedom fighters on 100.1 FM Gold channel in the English news bulletins at 8:30 a.m., 2 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. Stay tuned.
And now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. India's glorious fight for freedom is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. Every day, AIR News brings you a glimpse of the valiant struggle. In today's episode, we will talk about freedom fighter named Sahodaran Ayyappan, P. Jeevanandam, and will also talk about August offer of the British. Today is the birth anniversary of Sahodaran Ayyappan, a social reformer and thinker from Kerala. Ayyappan was born on 21st of August 1889 in Chennai, Ernakulam. Influenced by the philosophy of Sri Narayana Guru, Ayyappan became his disciple. A staunch rationalist, he launched a magazine titled Yuktivad in 1928 to propagate his thoughts of freedom, equality and brotherhood.
What can be called a milestone in Kerala's Renaissance movement is the Mishra Bhojanam, in which people of all castes had dinner together. Ayyappan got the prefix Sahodaran to his name after he started a journal titled Sahodaran to help promote harmony in the society. He breathed his last on the 6th of March 1968. The legacy left behind by Sahodaran will remain etched in the history of Kerala's socio-cultural renaissance.
Today is also the birth anniversary of another great son of India, P. Jeevanandam. He was born on 21st of August 1907 in the present-day Kanyakumari district of Tamil Nadu. He was not only a freedom fighter and a socio-political leader, but was also a cultural theoretician, excellent orator, journalist and critic, and above all, a relentless fighter for the deprived, a politician with a clean record in public life who lived and died in utter poverty.
Jeevanandam started his political life as a Gandhian. In 1924, he participated in the Vaikam Satyagraha. He also participated in a protest demanding entry for so-called untouchables into the Suchindram temple. Later, during his stay in an ashram in Siruvayal, he had written a letter to Gandhi, disagreeing with some of his methods. When Gandhi came to Madras, he had this letter in his pocket and wanted to meet Jiva. He told Rajaji that he would like to go to the ashram where he resided and meet him. When Gandhi went to Shiruvayal ashram and asked for Jiva, the Mahatma was surprised to meet the 25-year-old Jiva. His patriotism took him to the national movement. His revulsion towards caste-based discrimination led him to the self-respect movement.
One of his major influences was the works of the Tamil poet Subramanya Bharati and also Bharati's persona and simple lifestyle. He was well versed in Tamil literature and was a good orator. Jiva translated Bhagat Singh's classic essays into Tamil. Jeevanandam was in the forefront of efforts to build a strong labour movement in Tamil Nadu. In the first general elections in post-independence India, Jiva became an MLA and worked for the development of Tamil Nadu.
And it was on this day in 1940 when the nationalist leaders rejected the August offer in a meeting held at Wardha. During the Second World War, Viceroy Linlithgow had declared India to be at war against Germany. Indian leaders were miffed as the British government had pulled India into war without the consent of the people of the country. But the British government was keen on getting Indian support as it feared to lose the battle. Viceroy Linlithgow made a set of proposals called the August Offer. It proposed to accord India's dominion status among other offers. But nationalists rejected the offer and demanded nothing but complete independence.
After the failure of August offer, Mahatma Gandhi urged volunteers to offer individual satyagraha. Vinoba Bhave, the saint of Wardha, was the first to volunteer. Satyagrahis also started the Dilli Chalo movement. This was the decisive moment in the freedom struggle. This was the last leg of struggle for independence when, after individual satyagraha in 1942, Gandhiji launched the Quit India movement with the mantra of do or die, which eventually brought freedom for the nation.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
Amid the COVID-19 pandemic, Keralites across the globe are celebrating Thiruvonam today, the biggest cultural festival of the state. Here is a report.
Today is Thiruvonam, the most auspicious day of Onam. This annual harvest festival of the state celebrates the visit of mythical and righteous King Mahabali. Onam is being celebrated by all Keralites irrespective of religion, symbolizing secularism and harmony. Onam marks the season of plenty, but this time the celebrations are strictly adhering to COVID protocols. Authorities had alerted the public to follow extra vigil during the celebrations. People at large will be celebrating the festival in their homes. The spirit of Onam that instills hope and prosperity is in its full glory that hopes to bring a new dawn free of pandemic and a better future. Mayusha, AIR News, Thiruvananthapuram.
President, Vice President and Prime Minister have greeted people on the occasion of Onam. In his message, President Ramnath Kovind said, this festival, celebrated to commemorate the yield of new crop in the fields, shows the tireless hard work of the farmers and gratitude towards Mother Nature. The President called upon everyone to resolve to move forward unitedly towards progress and prosperity of the country. In his message, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said, Onam marks the beginning of the harvest season in various parts of the country and is an occasion to celebrate the vitality and abundance of nature. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has conveyed best wishes to people on the occasion of Onam. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, it is a festival associated with positivity, vibrancy, brotherhood and harmony. He prayed for everyone's good health and well-being. Rafael Nadal announced that he will not be competing for the rest of the 2021 tennis season, including the upcoming US Open. Nadal said he is giving himself some time off to recover from a foot injury that has been troubling him. Nadal expressed his displeasure over missing the Wimbledon, Olympics and now the US Open.
Many parts of the national capital Delhi and adjoining regions are witnessing heavy rain accompanied by thunderstorms since late last night. The Safdarjung Observatory, which provides representative data for the city, reported over 73 millimeters of rainfall from 2:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. today. Talking to AIR News, senior scientist at IMD, R.K. Jenamani said the heavy rainfall in the city will continue till tomorrow.
Today, National Capital Delhi has reported a very intense rainfall and a heavy rainfall has been reported. That is the 73 millimeter of Safdarjung Airport. So these heavy rainfall fell not only over Delhi but over West Uttar Pradesh and other parts of northwest India, particularly Haryana, West Uttar Pradesh and East Rajasthan, and then Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. These heavy rainfall fell likely to continue till tomorrow night and then reduce thereafter.
Vehicular movement has been affected due to waterlogging in different areas of the city following the rainfall. Delhi Traffic Police has alerted people that Azad Market underpass has been closed due to 1.5 feet of waterlogging and urged them to avoid using this route. Traffic movement at Minto Bridge carriageway has also been closed due to waterlogging. IMD has issued an orange alert for moderate to heavy rain in the national capital today, with the revival of the monsoon in northwest India. And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. In the national capital Delhi, the minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is likely to be nearly 31. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The lower limit of temperature was 25 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 29 degrees. Chennai is expected to have thunderstorm with rain, and the temperature will move to a maximum of 33 degrees Celsius from a minimum of 25 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The city noted a minimum temperature of 27 and a maximum will be around 31 degrees Celsius. Srinagar will have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain. The temperature will hover between 17 and 30 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain. The minimum temperature was 26 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 34 degrees. Leh will have a generally cloudy sky with temperature hovering between 11 to 23 degrees Celsius. Gilgit will have a partly cloudy sky with temperature varying between 16 and 36 degrees Celsius.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Zydus Cadilla's needle-free plasmid DNA COVID vaccine gets DCGI nod, headlines the Hindu business line. First COVID-19 vaccine for children above 12 years gets emergency use nod, reads the Indian Express headline. The Statesman writes that 36,571 new cases of COVID-19 were added and 540 deaths were reported yesterday. Targeted killings by Taliban spark renewed Afghan fears, writes the Asian Age. And finally, the Times of India has written about the bravery of a couple who fought off a leopard to save their 2-year-old granddaughter in a village close to Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India gets its first COVID vaccine for children aged 12 and above. Government approves Zydus Cadilla's 3-dose vaccine for emergency use. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says approval for world's first DNA-based ZyCoV-D vaccine is a testimony to innovative zeal of India's scientists. More than 57 crore 22 lakh doses of corona vaccine administered in the country so far. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh approves proposal to publish details of government's planned procurement on official websites. EPFO adds 12.83 lakh new subscribers in June this year. Centre constitutes a committee for doubling production and quadrupling exports of handlooms in 3 years. NATO suspends all support to Afghanistan following Taliban's siege of Kabul. Keralites celebrate the biggest festival, Thiruonam, across the globe today. And Rafael Nadal is out for rest of 2021 tennis season due to foot injury. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.